Hi, this is Ellen from the Chili Dog, and today I'd like to show you the circular cast on that I used when I made my feeling loopy socks. This method can be used for any project that's worked in the round and that starts with a small number of stitches and then gradually gets larger. So it works nice for things like toe up socks, or you could also use it for top down hats or even amigurumi figures. And this technique is a variation of the provisional cast on, and it's a type of disappearing or pinhole cast on. Because after you work your first round of stitches, you can pull the yarn tail, and the first round of stitches will gradually close in and form this tight little circle here at the center. So let me show you how the cast on works. I like to use double pointed needles when I'm doing this cast on, but you could also do it on circular needles if you prefer. And this cast on is a little bit unusual because it doesn't start with a slip knot holding that first stitch on your knitting needle. Instead, what you're going to do is hold your DPN in your right hand and then take your index finger and you're going to wrap the yarn around your index finger so that the working yarn is here at the back and the tail of the yarn is here at the front. And then hold the yarns in your left hand, kind of in a slingshot, again, so that the working yarn is in the back and the yarn tail is in the front. With your knitting needle, you're going to dive underneath the yarn tail, jump over the working yarn, scoop that working yarn all the way towards you, continue in the same motion, and do a yarn over. And now you have your first two stitches on your knitting needle. And at this point, it's safe for you to take your index finger out of that loop of yarn. And then just tighten the loop by pulling on the tail with your thumb. So now we have two stitches on our needle. So let's keep casting on. I like to hold the stitches in place with my index finger. And again, we're going to dive down under the tail, up, jump over the working yarn, scoop the working yarn towards you all the way under the tail, continue in the same circular motion and do a yarn over. So now we have four stitches. Hold them secure with your index finger, dive under the tail, over the working yarn, scoop the yarn all the way towards you, continue in that same circular motion and do a yarn over. And let's cast on two more stitches. Dive under the tail, jump over the working yarn, scoop the working yarn all the way towards you, continue in the circular motion and do a yarn over. So now we have 8 stitches on the knitting needle and we're ready to start knitting in the round. So instead of turning your work, you're simply going to slide the stitches down to the other end of your double pointed needle. And you just want to make sure that you don't lose this yarn over that is the very last stitch here. So just kind of hold it in place as you're sliding things down. So now you're ready to start knitting in the round. And this first stitch can be a little bit tricky because it's a little tight right there. And it's hard not to pull it too tight. Keep your working yarn, a little bit loose as you knit this stitch, and we're going to tighten it after we get the stitch all the way formed. So you're going to pull it through, and then once that stitch is on the needle, then you can go ahead and pull the working yarn and just tighten everything up. And then just continue working in the round. And I'm on double points here. And I'm going to divide my stitches up since there's 8 of them. I'm going to put 3 stitches on the first needle, 2 stitches on the second, and 3 on the third. And if you prefer, it's fine to divide them up a different way or on more needles. But as we're getting started on just a few stitches, I find it easier just to have 3 needles holding your stitches instead of 4. Let me knit these last 3 stitches here. And now I've worked 1 full round of stitches. And things still look a little bit scary. I have this giant hole still at the center of my work, which I don't want. So this is where the magic happens. All you have to do is pull on your yarn tail and it just tightens up that ring of stitches so that there's no hole left at all. And you're ready to continue working in the round. I have one final pro tip for you before I go. If you don't want this hole to keep opening up on you as you're working your first few rounds, thread the tail onto a yarn needle, pull the needle through the first 2 or 3 cast-on stitches, and pull the needle through, and then go down through the center of the hole to the wrong side of your work, and pull the yarn tail nice and tight. You can see how it secures up those center cast-on stitches. And now, as you continue in the round, the hole won't keep opening up on you. Until next time, happy knitting.